Okay, so let's do a little summary of ratios and rates. Remember that they're obviously related words because the they both have this rat a ratio. They're both obviously related. RAT. Now, let's talk about what they have in common and what distinguishes a rate. Um, and actually, it turns out that a rate is a special ratio. A rate is a ratio, but it's a special ratio. So, um, comparison of two measurements or quantities, ratio or rate, or a ratio is a comparison of uh, two measurements or quantities, and so is a rate. So both of them compare two measurements, um, which can be thought of as a fraction. Well, a ratio can be written as a fraction, and rates, they're not generally written as a fraction, but they can be thought of as a fraction, um, because the denominator is usually 1 in rate, but the denominator is 1 something like 25 miles per hour. That means that the denominator of that fraction is 1 hour. 25 miles divided by 1 hour. You can still think of it as a fraction. So ratios and rates can both be thought of as fractions. Based on division. Well, hopefully that's pretty obvious. A fraction is a division problem. So if you can think about them both as fractions, then they're both division based. Now, the two measurements can have the same units. In other words, can a ratio be unitless, or can a rate be unitless without units? And the answer to that is a ratio. Only a ratio, a rate cannot be unitless. And the reason that a rate cannot be unitless is because the measurements that a rate compares always have different units. Miles per hour, dollars per pound. See, you're always comparing things with different units. Miles per hour, or dollars per pound. Dollars and pounds. See, a simple ratio, can be like 2 girls to 3 boys. Girls and boys, they cancel out. It's a 2 to 3 ratio, and it's unitless, 2 to 3, because girls and boys are both people. So it's a 2 to 3 ratio. You don't need the units there. Or another example, remember the triangles. The one triangle is 2/3 the size of the other. And remember, they're comparing. We're not, a ratio isn't say how much more one is than another, but how many times more or bigger one thing is than another. So basically, that's a quick summary. The big difference is simple ratios are often unitless because they're comparing things that have the same units, like comparing the lengths of the lengths of two segments, or the number of the number of wins to the number of losses of a team in a season. They're both games. Wins and losses are both games. But a rate, the units that are being compared are different, and the denominator is always 1 per. A rate contains the word per. Miles per hour, which means per 1 hour. The numerical part of the rate is always telling you for every, whatever the denominator is, the number of, like, 25 miles per hour, for every hour traveled, 25 miles were covered. $3 per pound. For every pound purchased, you pay $3. Hopefully that is a helpful little summary there.